Damn it, Mike. I'm gone for 1 week, and you changed the set.
Got my own camera now.
You're watching Best of 3.
Awesome. Intense.
Hey, welcome to I almost said FGC. Well, you know what? Welcome to the FGC. If you are not a regular viewer of this program is Best of 3. It's a FGC talk show presented by the Daily Esports department. I'm your host, Efren. This is your other host, Mike. And as always, later we're going to have a panel. We'll be joined by John Velociraptor Guerrero from Event Hubs. We do have a new set. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
And Steve's gone this week. He is on some sort of vacation.
He's doing work or something. I'm not sure what he's doing. But we moved the set around a little bit to facilitate potential gameplay, maybe other shows. But we'll talk about that in the show. Right now, before we introduce our panel, I want to let everybody know that we're going to have a first on Best of 3, and that is a Smash 4 player as our guest. Why do we have him on? One, because he actually does play Street Fighter and other games like that, but because he's a top Smash 4 player who obliterated Low Tier God recently, and it was hilarious. It was in hilarious fashion.
I mean, in all honesty, the truth is that as far as FGC news goes, this was the news of the weekend, to be honest.
There was two stories. Chris T has his heart broken, and there's a bunch of memes about him. And then Low Tier God loses to Anti after saying, "I'll never lose to a Smash player." So we have him on. We're going to talk to him about that. Not just that, although it is Blow Up Tuesday. We're talking about a couple other things about Smash 4 and its place in the FGC. And I think it's going to be an interesting conversation, and I think you should stick around for it. But first, let me introduce John Velociraptor Guerrero from Event Hubs. You know him, you love him. Here he is. Hey, John, how's it going, man?
What's going on? When you said welcome to the FGC, I just thought you were talking to all the Smash Bros. Players that are going to be watching today and alienating them away from the FGC.
Listen, we're all FGC is what they say, but we'll get that opinion from an actual Smash 4 elite later on in the show. I'm looking forward to it.
And if you do look up the NEC results from 2 years ago, I did place in the Smash 4 tournament.
I mean, we already do have a Smash player. What am I saying? We've had a Smash one from day one. We've had a Smash player on the show. Looking forward to it. But let's get into some topics here. We're going to talk about a couple of things here during our panel. Of course, we're going to have our CPT recap. As we mentioned, Steve is not here, but he recorded himself doing a CPT recap. I cut it. It's in slight potato quality, but why don't we go ahead and start off with that? Will, would you run Steve's CPT recap?
What's up, guys? This is Steve. How's everybody doing? That's fantastic. Look, I can't be there today. I'm out in the world fulfilling my civic duty, doing other things, but I still wanted to get you caught up on everything that happened in the Pro Tour this week.
Cannot believe he did the EX legs after the block fireball there.
We're going to kick things off with VS Fighting in Birmingham, England. That event saw a bunch of the best players in Europe hoping to defend home turf. The last few events on European soil, most of the points have gone to foreign competitors. There were 3 Americans in the field looking to do the same this week. Chris T, K-Brad, and Bren is Cool all made the transatlantic flight to hopefully take some points back with them. But it was CCL in the end, out of Belgium, who defended the home continent. He knocked off Chris T in a very exciting grand final. CCL won the winners final 3-2. Chris T got revenge in the grand final with a 3-2 win in the first set, but it was CCL in the end 3-1 in the second set of grand finals to take the event. Akainu out of France got third. That was his first major tournament outside of France, so good ups to him on that. Ryan Hart ended up in fourth, and then you had Brent tying for fifth alongside Afi, and then Pax and I'm Still the Daddy tying for seventh. K-Brad, the other American in the field, finished 25th. Flash was also expected to go, but he ran into some last-minute travel issues, and he could not make it out. In addition to VS Fighting, we had 2 online qualifiers. The first one was in Latin America on Saturday. This featured everyone from Chile, from Brazil, all the way up to Mexico. That didn't cause any problems at all in terms of lag, he lied. But it was Kusanagi out of Mexico taking it over El Tigre in the grand final, an all-Mexican grand final. Kelvin Zetsui ended up taking third out of Brazil. Menard out of Dominican Republic took fourth. And then you had Royer, Adonai Nova tying for fifth, Strike Phoenix, and HNK Meister tying for seventh. In the other qualifier online, it was the Asia qualifier. Now remember, this is the one that did not include Japan, Korea, Taiwan. So this was very heavy in Singapore, Malaysia representation. 3 of the top 4 were from Singapore, including this guy. You might have heard of him. He's not anywhere to be found on the leaderboards, but allegedly he's pretty good. Shen ended up taking it with that 0 league points account over Mind RPG in the grand final. You had Vanilla Lollipop, a.k.a. Gamble Boxer, in third, and then SKZ in fourth. Behind them, Aeon Yoga Water and KOF Master tying for fifth, and then Dark Ace and Iron SOL tying for seventh.
There was your CPT recap. Steve's not here, but shout-outs to him. Guys, I want to remind you, as we do every week, this is a call-in show. So if at any point you have an opinion on stuff, we can't always get to everybody, and sometimes we're tight on schedule, but we love to hear what you guys have to say. If you have questions for John or Mike, Danke, right. You can feel free to call them in. These are your experts, guys. We bring them here so that you can pick their brains.
Or Anti, too, right?
Anti later, of course. You can ask him your questions, and I hope you guys will take advantage of that. Let's get into it. There was a lot to unpack. Of course, it was an IRL tournament and 2 online tournaments, and there's plenty to talk about all of them. What I found to be quite interesting was CCL. This is not his first CPT win. He won the Frankfurt Major earlier, so he has 2 European CPT first place placings. So shout out to him. What do you think about that guy? Because he was getting some flack from Chris T for his Chun.
He's a little different than other Chun players, but obviously he's like fantastically good. Chun versus Ken is not a matchup that's typically considered particularly in either character's favor heavily. I think most people put Chun-Li, ahead or at least even in most matchups in the game, other than Chris T, of course, who thinks it's unwinnable. But yeah, I think that Chris T and a lot of other people weren't ready for the risks he was willing to take. Like EX legs in neutral. This is something that most Chun-Lis don't do because it spends a bar, but it's actually safe, versus Ken specifically. So it's not a horrible read. It's just not a typical read.
Now, John, I don't know if you were following this, but I guess he was getting flagged for all these DPs that he was doing. People were implying that he was doing like YOLO DPs, whereas he was saying, I was trying to adapt to this guy's style. What were your takeaways from that?
So, all right, there's so many different angles here that we can approach this by. Chris is a great player. We'll start off there. I knew the guy before he kind of rose to any kind of prominence. I remember when he and the High Desert guys came into Wednesday night fights for like the first couple of times, and they were kind of like the other dudes, and we all gave them a hard time, and they didn't win all that much, but they rose through the ranks, and now Chris is where he's at. He's traveling overseas. He's playing in tournaments there. He's getting second place at these events, and so first and foremost, Chris is a good player. We know that, but it's just the way he's dealing with things like this. It kind of shows his youth, his immaturity a little bit.
What is he, like 1 year younger than you, John?
Chris just turned 21. Thank you very much.
Oh, dang. Yeah, he's a baby.
Yeah, and that's so it's understandable. Like, he's a good guy, but when you get up in front of the cameras and when you're in front of everybody and such all the time, it's easy to lose your cool, and especially when you're in the middle of a really intense tournament match and you lose to something that you get super frustrated by. And we saw that in CCL's play. Yeah, he was doing a lot of unconventional things. And it got into Chris's mind. And as you saw, you referenced the things that there were quite a few posts on like R Kappa, Chris just being destroyed and defeated.
Man, that was hilarious. It was really funny, man. The entirety of R Kappa was Chris T memes. I mean, they're being kind of mean. But I mean, that's what you get when you put yourself in the spotlight, I guess.
Right. And so like I was saying, it's kind of just an example of Chris not quite handling the situation as professionally as he probably should have. Of course, everybody gets salty, everybody gets upset, but you're in front of the world, and when you go and you say, you blame it on this, or he was playing scrubby or whatever, you're gonna get some backlash. But we all love Chris. It's all in good fun. He's got his lashings for sure. And we'll move forward, and I look forward to seeing how he progresses as a player as he continues to get better and continues to grow. And yeah, it's all a good time at the end of the day. But shout outs to the CCL, right? I don't want to mess up.
Yeah,
the
CCL. He's
for
from Belgium,
winning.
and I believe he speaks French.
And I'd like to mention that, like, I really do think that the salt involved played into Chris's play. I mean, the way you watch CCL win a bunch of these matches is literally just sitting there while Chris, EX Tatsu's at him or whiffs DPs and stuff like that. And you got to give credit where credit's due to the guy who adapts to that and recognize that he's pissing the other guy off and takes advantage of it.
That's 100% a part of the game, and I've heard pros talk about it when they say, like, this is how you get better. When you smell blood in the water, when you smell fear, or when you see someone not comfortable with a situation, you exploit the hell out of it. That's how you play these games, and like maybe that's not the most honorable way of approaching it, but hey, that gets wins, and there's no rule against it. So again, that's a very good move by CCL to do that. And yes, I can back up the fact that Chris very much is a player that will get frustrated mid-match. And just from playing him firsthand, I've seen that kind of thing happen before, and that'll open up holes in the gameplay where you can exploit.
And then finally, just one small piece of tech I'd like to talk about from him is that a lot of people neglect Chun-Li's EX Spurting Bird Kick as an anti-air because standing light kick is so good, because back heavy kick is so good. But versus a character like Ken who can alter his jump trajectory with EX Tatsu, it's pretty much a dive kick. EX Spinning Bird Kick being a very active move with invincibility means that he'll anti-air either option without having to react. So
but you have to use meter for it?
You have to use meter for it, but it's a cover-all option as opposed to standing light kick. So I really liked his use of that in the set.
John, is that a framed picture of Fei Long behind you?
Oh, you're going to bring this up. That's actually, we had I live with Driftwood, right? The Fei Long player from Street Fighter 4. That's his side, and then I have the Gokin picture up above. But he's got it's actually a crocheted, I forget the term.
Lovely.
Fei Long, and then that's
John.
his D, not my D. So you know.
All right, John. Always got to have your mind in the gutter. Two things about online tournaments that I want to touch on briefly so we can move on to some other topics here. One is Shen on this show said he was going to try out different types of tournaments, whether he was going to travel or not. He needed to get those points, and he didn't want to be competing necessarily on the Asia Pro Tour events. He got online, won that tournament in very good fashion. I mean, his fang is always on point. That's one thing I'd like to talk about.
I believe that tournament was Asia, but limited to Oceania.
Correct. So you didn't have Japan and Korea in there, if I'm not mistaken.
Still a strong region.
Of course,
definitely
absolutely.
not the same level.
Okay. And the other was the Latin American online tournament, which, as we could see right here, I'm going to shift the image here, was very laggy. And
which
this included
regions that it shouldn't have, right?
It was like Brazil, Mexico. Well, what were the regions that were represented that shouldn't have been there? But look at how choppy this is in the meantime. Jeez.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I did a story on this, and the response from a lot of the players in Latin America was that Mexico, although it is absolutely part of Latin America, should not have been part of this particular tournament because all these other countries in South America and such don't have good connection to Mexico. And so the argument was that Mexico should be part of the North American part of the tour. And I mean, I'm in Arizona. I'm real close to Mexico, so my matches with them are always really good, but I don't know.
So you're just saying that based on, in your opinion, it would have worked better this way, or was it?
I think it's
in
a lot
the
of
rules?
people's opinions, though, for sure.
But was it in the rules? Because I mean, Latin America, you got to put Mexico in there for crying out loud.
Yeah, of course. And I don't know for sure. I'm like I say, I only know I'm in southern Arizona, where I'm an hour from the border. So of course my connection's going to be good. I don't know if you go to Canada if you're going to be able to connect with Mexico all that well. But I mean, this is a whole new adventure that Capcom is going on with these online regions and such. And you do what you can. Maybe next year they'll do something a little bit different. Maybe have a Central America only or something kind of tournament. But given what they knew, given the actual geography and the technicality that Mexico is Latin America, I feel like they made the right choice by putting them in this. It just kind of sucks.
Yeah. I think that means that we're not ready to be doing online tournaments on a global scale.
I agree. I think these tournaments should be for 32 points.
Exactly. That's what I'm surprised by, the amount of numbers.
If they existed as a very minor event, I think people would have less objections. The problem is that right now, and I mean the winners of the tournaments have been good so far, very good players from their regions, but the fact of the matter is the lagginess, which was an issue in the NA tournament as well. I don't know about the Singapore event or the Oceania event. It just changes the way things work, and it's not the same environment that obviously the Capcom Cup itself is going to be in. So I would hope that would be weighted as such. But I understand what they're going for. You know, they want the online player to have the ability to get out to the Capcom Cup the same way other people do, but right now we're just not ready for it to be worth as many points as it is.
I mean, is it more the points though, or is it that these regional like events they send you out to an actual live event though, right? These guys that win this are not just automatically going to a Capcom Cup, but they have to go now play in like a 16-man bracket, right?
Correct, but they also get like 128 points, which is just as much as winning any one of the Absolute Battle next week. Or
Sure. No, that's at the end of August, which, by the way, we're going to be there. We're going to be at Absolute Battle, Mike and I, but we'll talk about that later. Guys, we only have time for one of two more topics. One is a trip down nostalgia lane with some of these old pictures that surfaced, and the other is a segment that you guys debuted, and now we have a fancy graphic for. Block or grab. Whether you take something or no, or don't. So what's it going to be, gentlemen? Nostalgia lane or block or grab? Block or grab.
Block or we'll try it out.
All right, guys. So this is what it is. Block or grab. Do you buy it or sell it? Do you take it or leave it? We had some recent signings of players. This didn't happen last night, but recently we've had some players get picked up by teams. The distinction being a team and a sponsor. Won a team, got players on there, sponsors come. All right, first one up, Stupendous. Mike, block or grab?
You know, this is tough for me because I think Stupendous is one of the best players in the United States as far as skill level goes.
Why don't you get so serious and lower your voice all
Well,
of a
the
sudden?
thing is, I think that anyone who picks Zangief is not very smart. I 100% believe that. And so I don't know how I feel about that. I feel that he could definitely pick another character and do a lot better. But if we're talking about sponsoring a player, we want someone that people like, right? And people think it's cool to see Zangief do good things. So the question is viability in the long run, which Zangief, in my opinion, does not have.
Okay.
Or whether or not people like watching Stupendous.
What if after Capcom Cup they give him green hand?
How am I supposed to bet on that now?
Nah, that's silly.
You know what?
Block.
If we're talking in the current thing,
Block.
I'm going to block.
You're going to block
I'm going to
Stupendous.
block because you know what? I think Stu's great, and from everything I've heard, he's a great guy, and I'm sure he's very marketable. But I have watched his Zangief and every other Zangief get dismantled by the absolute top Japanese players because I really don't think he can win at a high level. And you know what? If you stop winning at some point, you stop being on stream. And if you stop being on stream, you're hard to market. So for my team of the Danke All-Stars, I'm going to block.
Is that the name of the team, Danke All-Stars? Let's talk about the John's Rejects. Would you put Stupendous on your team?
No, not only would I not block Stupendous, I would boof Stupendous. That's what they call it, right? Whenever he gets a command grab at Wednesday Night Fights, they call it the boof. The guy, okay, look, Frankie, I'm on a first-name basis with him. How about that? Now, Frankie is, he's a great player. He was decent in Street Fighter 4, but he came into his own in Street Fighter 5, especially after everyone was expecting so much out of a certain other player from SoCal that didn't do so hot with Zangief. He stuck with him, and it's a Cinderella story in and of itself. And the fact that he's doing well with this character, that no one believes him, that's going to get so much attention. So yes, maybe he falls off, but for the time being, I would absolutely put him on my team and have faith that he's going to stick with it and be able to pioneer the character, take him in new directions that's going to make him successful throughout Street Fighter V's career or lifespan. So I'd say I'm going to grab it.
And one thing, people are mentioning Itazan and how great he did in that tournament. I think that Zangief is perfectly viable right now. I think that most people don't know the matchup whatsoever. And I think whenever you see it, I think people who do know the matchup make it really, really, really hard.
All right, well, there you go. Next one. Sanford Kelly, picked up by Mutiny. In 2 words or less, block or grab? You know, the idea was to expedite the block or grab process so then we could get John's opinion.
But when you make me condense down to 2 words, it makes me think even harder. Do it in 2 words, John.
Go first, yeah. Okay. First word, who? Second word, block.
Sanford Kelly.
What has Sanford done in Street Fighter 5? He's a great player.
I think he beat L.I. Joe or did he? He beat Knuckle Dew. He beat Knuckle Dew at Defend the North the other week. To be honest, if it's the Danke All-Stars, we're going to block.
Who's on the Danke All-Stars?
We're going to see.
All right, we're moving on. So that's a double block on Sanford. Youch. Guys, Evil Biz, Chris T. Marketable.
I'm gonna grab Chris T.
Oh yeah.
You know, because like he's loud, and you know he got a lot of flack this weekend. But I guarantee you, he also got a lot of Twitter followers, and he's also an amazing player. So a really good player. He's young. He's got that whole Trinity angle that everyone seems to love. And then obviously he's kind of loudmouthed, and people, whether they like or hate that, they listen to it. So yeah, I'll definitely grab Chris T. He also plays a broken character.
So, Chris T, first sign on the non-existent Danke All-Stars. John, what do you got, buddy?
I will also grab Chris T, and Chris and I have had, our past where we're competitors against each other. There's some competition there. So there's definitely a part of me that's like, oh, I got signed, and he's still out and doing well at Wednesday night fights, and I could beat that guy. But I can't. All the things that Danke listed, I absolutely agree with, and I can't be honest and say block. I got to grab Chris T as well.
All right, and for our last block grab, before we let you go and we bring on Anti, also known as Jason Bates, we have none other than Lupe Fiasco himself, who jokingly got picked up by evil geniuses. Would you put him on the Danke All-Stars?
I'm going to let John go first on this one.
John.
I'm deferring.
What would you do?
First off, he did not get picked up by evil geniuses.
Yo,
they
he got
made
the
him
jersey,
a
bro.
jersey. They made him a jersey. So what?
That's all it takes. You're on the team.
I mean, if people are going to be argue whether or not K-Brad should be on Evil Geniuses, then absolutely not. Lupe. But for the sake of, if we're talking a team of actual players, then of course not. But obviously, we're not talking about that. We're talking about, is he marketable? Do people want to see him? Will everybody watch every single stream match that he does? Then yeah, okay, I can give it. I'll grab it from that point of view. Plus, he's, what did you guys say, 1-0 against Daigo, and that's it.
He's the most consistent player on the tour so far.
You're right.
I'm going to say that right now. He's 1-0.
Yeah.
He's been on the Evo main stage as a performer.
Yeah.
He is now skipping the entire line of Smash 4 to play 0 in a show match. So he's at least the second best at that. I think it's an obvious grab. I see absolutely no reason you wouldn't take the best Street Fighter V player to be on your team.
And that brings us to the end of Blocker Grab. John, thank you so much for being on the show, as you always are every week. Very illuminating. You'll be back next week, I hope.
Well, we'll see.
And so will Steve. That's the panel, guys. Coming up next, thank you, John, for being on the show. Coming up next, we have Jason Bates. As we said, he got first at CEO. I think he tied for 33rd at Evo. He's a really good Smash 4 player.
I mean, really, really, really good. Obviously, one of the best. He's plays top 8 or top 3 or top 4 in tournaments across the country. He's fun to watch. Definitely a major name in that scene.
I was cracking up. I mean, while we get him on the line, let me show you this hilarious video of Anti's entrance at CEO. So let's check this out and tell me you don't already love the guy. Look at this. For anybody not familiar with him, because you're an FGC fan and not a Smash follower or whatever you want to say, that's him right there, making it rain.
And Anti's a player from New York. Notably, I'm sure we'll talk about this in a second. He did play Street Fighter 4. And he plays Street Fighter 5. I think he'll tell you himself he's not a top-level tournament player, but he's someone who's trying to learn the game as someone who's high-level from another game. So it'll be interesting to see how he feels about the game, how he feels about the community, and how he feels about the reception he's gotten in the past weekend.
Well, I think he joins us now. Anti, are you there, and can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here now. I'm good.
All right.
Okay,
there
I think
we
we
go.
got
we
it
got you
squared away.
Okay, Anti, thank you so much for being on the show. I know you have a tight schedule. We really wanted to have you on. I don't want to rush through this, but let's just start at the top. How did this LTG Low Tier God match even get off the ground?
All right, so I seen tweet like the other day. He tweeted out
Anti, we're hearing you in like triplicate here. Oh my goodness, Anti, we're having a hard time understanding you. It sounds as if there's some kind of apocalypse occurring in your apartment, or.
All right, is it good now?
There we are. Okay.
We seem good for yet again another second.
Hopefully we're good.
Okay, Anti.
So take out the story.
We hear you. Disregard the stream entirely. We hear you on the phone loud and clear. Right?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, there we go. Okay. How did this low tier God stuff happen? Because it was hilarious.
All right, so I seen him tweet out. Like, I follow him before we followed each other for a while. Like, we were cool at first. And then I see him tweet out, not a single Smash player could ever take a set off me in Street Fighter. So I was like, hold up. I'm not that bad at Street Fighter. So I was training with Zero yesterday in New Jersey. He was training for SmashCon, big Smash stage coming up. So I lost to Zero. I was losing to him, so I came home salty. I was like, shit, I might have gone Street Fighter. And then I checked battle lounges. I seen that low tier guy had a battle lounge up, so I was like, oh yeah, so I'm taking out all my soul on this motherfucker right here. So I joined his lobby, and he's jury. So I'm like, all right, I know it's not his main character, so I'm gonna just like I'm gonna go kind of just like see what his jury's like. So I beat his jury 2-0. And he tweeted me. He was like, try that shit on my Alex or some shit like that, like on my real character. So he went Alex. I'm like, all right. So I beat him 2-1 instead, and I perfected him one of the games. And then he got so fucking salty. Like, I was keeping my cool the whole time. But he just kept on cursing and shit. I'm like, bro, that's unnecessary right now. And then he went Nash. And I 2-0'd his Nash. That's his main character. So I'm like, bro, I beat you in 3 sets. Like, a set is, to me, is like, all right, in tournament, it's 1st to 2. If you lose the set, you're in loser's bracket. So he's trying to say I was not a set, but I'm like, bro, that's a set.
Yeah,
and
totally.
He just got super good.
Yo,
Yeah.
but are you surprised by the response to it, right? Because that is on another level. And we were talking about earlier that you got 1,000
and the level
followers.
to which he responded to you. I mean, just the comments and tweets and ridiculousness.
So, yeah, let's split that apart. First, his response to it all, and then everybody else's response to it. Let's start there. What do you think about his response to it?
I think he acted like a little baby, to be honest. Like, I kept my cool the whole time. I was like, yo, good games. I was like, good games, man. And then he was like, don't fucking call me fam. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to teach you for respect. And he's just super mad because I'm a Smash player. So, like, I guess losing to Smash players is like taboo, I guess, in some type of way. But I like the reaction I got because I uploaded it perfect, and it got like 11K likes on Twitter and like 5K retweets. So I'm like, bro, like you're a fucking joke right now for all communities, like the Smash and Street Fighter. Like, you can't win this right now. And like I told him the money match, I'm like, yo, put money up. I'll play you for money. If you really want to play me? And then he was like, no, I'm not gonna play you. I'm gonna play you all stream, no money up, like how we play at 3:40 a.m. And the funniest part about this whole thing is that I was like, after we played those 3 sets, I was like, dude, I'll play you tomorrow. And he was like, no, play me right fucking now. And then I'm like, no, I'll play you tomorrow. I have work in the morning. And then he said, all right, whatever. And then he used that as an excuse. He was like, we play at 3:40 a.m. I was tired. I'm like, bro, you said play you again at 3:40 a.m. So how are you trying to do that? I'm like, what? Like, that makes no sense. But, yeah.
And so you, from what I understand, didn't initially plan on posting this video. You only posted it once he kind of went out of control.
I posted it once he called me a tar roach gargoyle. I was like, bro, nobody something like that and get away with it.
Yeah, that's pretty low, man. And it's like we were talking about it earlier. It just seems so out of like left field. Like that's just like not cool to say.
Yeah, but like the thing is, like I find it funny as a person. So like I'm not even super mad about the whole thing. Like I will actually like just like, yo, we're cool. Like I don't really care, but he's so mad about it, so I'm just laughing at it. Like I really don't care about like this whole debate, but if he wants to keep going, I can keep going. Like he's losing the war right now, so once
so
he gets over, I'm like, all right, we're cool.
So to confirm this, I think a lot of people think that Low Tier God is trolling most of the time when he gets mad. To you, it does not seem like he's trolling at this point, right? Or does it?
I think, yeah, because like nobody, like he's been going on about this whole thing for over 24 hours now. Like nobody is that for attention that they need to do this for like that long of a time. Like usually it'd be like 2 hours worth of tweets and like you're over it, but he keeps on going on and just. I feel like he just likes how the followers he's getting right now, something like that. But like, I think this is like all for attention for him. Like he's like basking in it.
You know what? To a degree, I want to stop talking about Low Tier God. Let's talk more about you, Anti. You're a sponsored player, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your sponsor again? I'm blanking on the name. I'm sorry.
Dream Team.
Dream Team. That's what it is. Dream TGG.
Yeah. So they
go ahead.
They contacted me like a little. Oh, hello.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they contacted me a little bit around before CEO. They just wanted to know if I was interested in joining them. Like they had me and another top player. Like I was number 2 in New York, number 10 in the world for Smash 4, and number 2 in New York, 10 in the world, and then the Buzz is number 3 in the world and number 1 in New York. They contacted me and him, and they wanted to know if we were interested in joining. So we waited a couple of days, like looked over the contract, made sure it was all good, and then we signed like 3 days before CEO, and we both went, and then we both got to winners finals. This is the best part of the whole thing. We both went to winners finals the whole tournament, and I beat him 3-2 last hit. So I felt like it was a good look for DT to like sign players, and the players like do super good that same event. So.
And then connecting that to Street Fighter, how long have you been playing Street Fighter, and do you really ever plan on taking it seriously, maybe to the level you do for Smash?
Yeah, I actually was going to quit Smash 4 for Street Fighter at one point because Bayonetta, like the character in Smash 4, he was super overpowered and like so like cheap. So I got so fed up over that shit, and I was like, I'm gonna just play Street Fighter because that's like a way more balanced game than Smash at this point. But then they nerfed us, so I was like, all right, I'll give it up a chance. But I think I can see myself like trying to get good at Street Fighter. Like I have a lot of trainers. I train with my friend Sherm, Ice, the Bison player, Elton John, and Crackbean. Like they all like are my mentors. Like they're trying to teach me Street Fighter. So I'm just keep on playing and just try to get better and better. And like I want to get to that point where like moving to a Smash player isn't that bad of a thing because we have brains too. Like we're not like fucking imbeciles.
Like, go ahead.
Yeah. People like just think that we play Smash is like a party game or whatever, but I don't agree with all that. But like I can see why some people hate Smash, but but I don't think it's like all Smash players are under the same umbrella. So.
That's fair. And you've played every Smash game, right? Everything like from Project M to Brawl to 4.
Yeah, I only played Project M when Brawl died. So like Brawl went through a phase where the game just had no more entrants, no more money in it. Then Project M came about, and I just played because I was waiting for Smash 4 to come out, and Brawl was dead. So I was like, let me just play Project M to see like what the game was like. I had fun with it, but as soon as Smash 4 came out, I dropped it completely. So.
We have a question from the chat, and then I'm going to change the subject on you, but the question is, can you ask Anti, this is not handled, who's a friend of the show, he says, can you ask Anti if incidents like what happened with Low Tier God happens in the Smash community too? If so, would they be more visible if Smash 4 had good matchmaking and replay features?
Yeah, I think that would definitely, but the thing is with Street Fighter, you can say replays in Street Fighter, and Smash, you can't really do it, you can't, but like, it's like, it doesn't have the name, and like, you can't really split. It's just like player 1 versus player 2. Like, versus me versus LTG, it said Anti versus Low Tier God, so I can't like make the replay up to like act like it wasn't him. Smash doesn't have that, so I think some incidents do happen where somebody gets blown up online, but usually 4 Glory is anonymous, so you can't really have that in Smash, but in Street Fighter is just way more fun because join somebody's lobby, you know who you're playing against, and you fuck them up and then blow them up for it, like how you do LTG.
Yeah, you kind of had it coming. Now, change the subject. You won CEO right after getting signed. Then a couple of weeks later was EVO. If you could compare those experiences, because of course CEO and Jabali, he prides himself as being a friend of the Smash community. But then at EVO, there was a lot of flack. In particular, the Smash 4 community was upset about plenty of things. And then the icing on the cake was an article that came out on SRK basically claiming that Smash 4 hadn't earned the respect, and they still needed to earn that respect. And in that article, they mentioned you basically saying, you know, there's guys like Anti that are learning Street Fighter 5 and dabble in that, but it's not enough. That, I mean, that's a lot to kind of dive into, but where would you start with that conversation?
All right, with that, I'll start with comparing CEO to EVO. So I thought CEO was way more well-run than EVO this year. Like, last year, EVO was ran really well, and I didn't enter that EVO because I just wanted to spectate and, like, just enjoy Vegas. So I was mad that the year I entered EVO, it was the worst run event of all time to me. Like, and I don't think I've ever been to a tournament that was, like, run that bad for my game. Like, we had, at one point, we had four setups on the station, and we had two setups being used for the tournament, and then the other 2 were for casuals. We were like, we have way more matches going on than need to be played on tournament, and like the TOs, they didn't let us play tournament sets on the 4 setups. They said only use 2. So we're like, we've been here since 10 a.m. We're trying to go to bed, so we wake up at 8 a.m. to play again, and you're slowing down the process. So what the fuck? If you got pissed off at that, and like they were just like, it was not enough space to like to hold all of us. We were like 2,600 players, and we were in like the corner, second largest event. We are like, this is kind of bad. And then CEO was just way better because they had a shit ton of setups. They had Astros on every setup. We had our own stream. We had nice seats. One thing bad about CEO was no Wi-Fi, but that's like not even needed. But
Right.
But yeah, that was it. And then Evo. Other than that, it wasn't that bad to me. Some players got too like they was bitching too much about like how there was no best of 5 sets. I don't make it throw. That's just not even needed. You could just play best of 3 and win. Like not some necessity. And yeah, I feel like some matches just like complaining too much, like over the top. But some things were justified, but some weren't. But overall, I'll rate CEO like an 8.5, 9, and I rate Evo like a 6, to be honest, like overall, or like 5.5. It was kind of bad.
Dang, that's a failing grade.
Now, could a Street Fighter
Yeah,
player?
I feel like think about like, yeah. Huh?
How would you feel about a Smash player asking if a Street Fighter player could never beat them in Smash?
The thing is, we welcome other players like to play our game. That's the thing. Like, if we seen Justin Wong or Daigo trying to play Smash, bro, we would all hit him up like, bro, let me teach you how to play. We'll be happy for him. But like, but for like, just trying to feel like they're like, okay, he's a fucking Smash player. Don't play our game. Go back to your party game, whatever. So I think it's just two different like logic, mindsets going into other people playing their game. But we welcome open arms in a Smash 4.
We have a question for you from the stream. This is Jet Upper. And this might be somewhat controversial. Can you mention the Smash fans booing at CEO during KI and Guilty Gear? I think this is touching on the fact that some people in the FGC think that some Smash fans can sometimes be rude. How do you feel about that?
Okay, yeah, I totally understand that one. All right, let me tell you how it happened. So those are the Melee players. Super Smash Brothers Melee community, they are actually like the worst. They not all of them, but the majority. The majority of them, they're just like blinded by just Mango and PB and all the top players, and they just talk shit about everything that's not Melee. Like they talk shit about Brawl, they talk shit about Smash 4. So when their game is next and they're waiting, they're all riled up, waiting for some Melee. They just like booed for Guilty Gear. I'm like, guys, that's not. They booed up Brawl. They booed up Smash 4 and Apex for Melee. So it happens to us too in our own game, and they did it to Guilty Gear. So I'm like, that's a bad luck. Don't mess with the FGC. they'll fuck y'all up.
But you're touching on it, right? Like people don't want to say that there's any kind of division, but you're just saying don't fuck with the FGC, meaning we shouldn't fuck with that group, right? Or this group shouldn't fuck with that group. Is that a problem in any way, shape, or form? Does Smash need to have a separation and just do their own thing, or would that be a bad thing? What's your opinion on this grander FGC conundrum, if you even want to call it that?
I wouldn't say that we need to be separated per se. I would say that sometimes we step on each other's toes, like with scheduling and stuff. I would just urge the TOs to schedule the events better, so that there's no like overlap or there's no bumping in the heads between FGC and Smash or like Melee and Brawl, Melee and Wii U, because when that happens, then tension starts to rise and people start to complain and like backshow's games and stuff, and that's just not good. But I kind of see the FGC is separate from Smash. Like I don't. People say, oh, we're one unit. I'm like, nah, man, because the FGC is their own thing. They have their own tournaments, Capcom Pro Tour. They have all that, and then Smash is just Smash. It's just not under the same wing. Like Anime's different than FGC, than like Street Fighter, and like Melee is different from Brawl, Wii U, and all that. The whole thing is all different, like different entities, to be honest.
That makes sense. So you would like to see a Nintendo Cup?
I feel like that might happen soon.
I feel like there's been rumors of that for a long time. There's been rumors about that for a long time.
Yeah, they've been rumors, but I feel like Nintendo has a lot of copyright claims and all that stuff, so they can't really like put money into Smash 4 tournaments. Like otherwise they would have done it already, but like they have so much going on, so that they can't really fully go into Smash and making Smash like a real esport. But that's holding us back too. Like all these other games, like League, Counter-Strike, Hearthstone, they all have these huge payouts. And, like even Street Fighter, like Kazunoko won $100K. Like the most Smash player won at a Smash tournament was only $50,000. So that's like a big gap.
What'd you get at CEO? What'd you get for first place CEO?
I got $5,000. That's it.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I felt pretty good because the second place only got $1,800. So I'm like, yes, good thing I didn't get second. So I got 3 set 1, and I'm like, shit, if I lose this, I'm gonna lose a lot of fucking money. And I was like, all right, let me go Cloud.
You know, they split pots in the FGC. You ever heard about that? they don't do that in Smash 4?
Wait, splitting pots? No, we don't do that. No, we used to do that a lot, but then we got Esports and like people just started declining the split, so like we just stopped doing it altogether. It's like kind of like taboo to offer for a split. Unless you're like in the same crew, but.
Let's do a quick little see we're all the same. One thing that we've discovered that both Smash community and traditional FGC community really like is a good blow up. LTG and your match with him is an example of that. Where else do you think there's common ground other than the fact that we often have the events in the same venue? Can you think of anything, Anti?
All right, other than blow ups, I just think I like seeing when there's like moments in both games where all communities get super hyped. Like Moment 37 happened in 2016. I think that would also unite all communities. Like, oh my God, that's fucking crazy. How did he parry that? Like, we need more moments like that where like, everything like, just so fucking hype. But Smash 4 and Street Fighter 5 aren't that hype yet, so we can't really have that kind of moment go down. But once it does, I feel like that will also like make each other respect each other's games.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense to me. I mean, we'll have to wait and see where the community goes. Where are you headed? Where are you headed next? When's your next? What's your next stop?
All right, so I'm going to SmashCon in Virginia and on Thursday morning, so in 2 days. And then after that, I'm going to Big House and Genesis. Those are 3 Smash majors. And I'm going to like for FGC, I might go to the Canada Cup. I might go to Summer Jam too. I enter Street Fighter at all those FGC tournaments, so you can see my Nash and Ken there. But I'm just keep on training up and trying to get good, so I can body more forward. Like Fnatic called me out too today, so I'm like, bro. once I get godlike, I'm gonna like set a challenge and take his money too. So.
Well, Fnatic called you out in what game? Not Marvel, right?
In Street Fighter 5, he said I haven't touched Street Fighter 5, but I like me over you in a month. What do you say? I'm like, bro, who the fuck are you? Like, then I found out who he was. He was like a Marvel player. I'm like, oh, okay, but I'm still gonna wait. I still know who you are, but I'm gonna play him once I get good. Once I get like super good, because I know he's actually like a talented player. So, like, I don't really go around like saying, oh, all FGC players suck. But LTG said, no Smash player can be in the set. That's why I made it a big deal, because he cursed me out. And I'm like, all right, I'm a Smash player. I beat you in the set, so you're a hypocrite.
and we all thank you for that. Anti, we look forward to seeing when you get good, as you say, in Street Fighter 5. Will you come back and get a set in against our? You will go from Smash to Street Fighter. He started in Smash and went to Street Fighter and fighting games. Will you come and get a set with Danke?
Yeah, I'm definitely down. I seen your Baker, dude. You're actually pretty good. You did pretty good at what tournament was that? Texas Showdown. I see that.
Okay, you're not coming to any Texas tournaments anytime soon, are you?
Nah, I'll probably maybe if they have like a big Smash tournament in Texas, I'll probably go to that. But it's unlikely for now.
Well, Anti, I promised I would keep you only to a half an hour. Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you want to say before we let you go?
All right. Shout out to Dream Team for sponsoring me and flying me out to all these tournaments. Shout out to you guys, Daily Dot, big fan. And shout out to LTG for being a freaking scrub. And I'm going to take his money a set soon once he accepts that and stop being a little bitch. But, yeah, thank you guys so much.
We appreciate it, Jason. Thanks so much for coming on, man. We appreciate it. All right, later, man.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. We did ask him if he would play set with you, and he
doesn't have time.
He doesn't have time. He doesn't have time. But that does not mean that you're not going to show something? Is that right?
If people want to see something, I can always show something.
Before we get there, you know, a lot of people here are like, ugh, we're talking about Smash. Like, okay, fine, we're done with LTG. Why are we talking about Smash now? What's your opinion on that?
You know, I am supposedly the best of 3 resident Smash hater, but I actually really like Smash 4.
Smash 4?
And I played Smash 4, like, seriously. My roommate played it. You know, I played it on the tournament circuit in Texas, and I even played it in EC. I quit when it became hard to juggle the two because the meetups for Smash and for Street Fighter are typically separate, right? It's and the Wi-Fi for Smash sucks. So playing that game without being heavily involved in the Smash community got too hard as it went on. But the fact of the matter is we're all aiming for the same thing, which is to get recognized in esports, right? I mean, you hear Street Fighter players complain about not having enough pot. You hear any other fighting game players definitely
about the
complain
pot bonus for the prizes?
Pot bonus for the prizes, exactly, right. And so, I mean, yeah, there's a lot more in common than people think. The games do have similar fundamentals in a lot of ways, and I don't see any reason why they're so divided, except for Melee.
All right, so we don't have somebody for you to play against, but we would like for you to teach us something, Mike. Mike, can you teach me something today?
Sure.
I think we have an extra headset over there for you, so if you wanted to take that one off, you could. All right, Mike is going to go over to the gameplay set where he will be playing. He's going to show us how he comes up with setups. So if you're trying to figure out new stuff, listen to this. Let's see. Let's let Mike get warmed up over there on the other side of the set. Mike, what do you think, man? Oh, I think you have to press the button. The PS4 is under the... yeah, there it is. Live television, guys. I hope you're enjoying the show. We do this every week. We've never had a Smash 4 guest on. It's always been FGC, but it was about that time. This was the perfect guest. So we appreciate you guys watching. If you're new to the show, we do it every week. We would appreciate a follow. We would really appreciate a sub. I believe during this show we got a sub from Sleep91. So shout outs to Sleep91. Thank you very much for that. It means a lot. Mike, are you ready?
What?
Mike, are you ready?
I am not quite yet ready. Still getting into training mode.
You know, your TV is not on, but we can see it here. So just hold on tight for a second, and we'll get you going. We'll get you going.
So in order to talk a little bit about what I'm going to show off today, just thinking off something on top of my head, one big thing in creating a setup is realizing the mechanics of the game. And so oftentimes you have moves in this game that'll whiff on crouchers, right? Crouching is a different form of being than standing is. And certain moves, as a result of being very powerful, whiff on crouchers. For Vega, this means his standing roundhouse, his standing jab and claw, his standing jab and clawless, and his target combos will whiff on crouching characters. But sometimes you'd really like for this move to hit crouching characters. The thing is, in Street Fighter V and in most fighting games, there's a way for that to happen. And that'll be a lot easier when I can actually show the game. So the concept is as such. When you are facing a character on their wake up, there's actually a frame where they're forced to stand up.
And it's legitimately one frame?
There is a single frame where they're forced to be standing on wake up. And what this means is that if you are to do a move that overlaps with this frame, regardless of whether it whiffs crouchers, it will tag them standing.
Okay.
And this is important because, as I said, it lets you use moves that otherwise could not be used. For Vega, this is pretty nice because Vega's standing jab is a 3-frame move, and it notably combos into his down medium punch on non-counter hit. And so he actually doesn't have another move that'll combo into his down medium punch on non-counter hit that is 3 frames. And so in a setup I'm going to show, once this loads up, I'll show why that can be utilized to your advantage.
In the meantime, will you acknowledge my little Ryu that's behind you over your left shoulder?
No.
Dang it. All right, so what character are you using again?
I'm going to be using Vega to show off this setup, but I know other characters can use it similarly.
Okay.
I will note, and I will show there is a weakness to setups like this, which is that the standing frame can actually be avoided via mashing a crouching normal.
Not to derail you here, but did you see this video that Desk put out explaining how to keep somebody from getting a knockdown on moves that would otherwise give you a knockdown?
I don't think I saw it.
Well, sorry for derailing your conversation. Everybody should go check that out. Desk, his latest video.
Yeah, Desk is definitely one of the best video makers in the FGC.
Sure.
He makes a lot of videos that are informative. He makes a lot of videos that are flashy, probably more of the latter.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, unlike a lot of other people, he tends to make his videos 100% by hand.
By hand and on pad.
By hand and on pad.
The most recent one was pad.
So we'll show this. This is relevant versus any character. We'll just put it versus Ken. And yeah, I'll show the setup off.
But, you know, obviously show off the setup, but show off how you get to that point.
Okay, and so as I said, the thing that led to this setup was that I wanted to make standing jab immediate. And so if I put Ken here on crouching, as you can see, his clawless standing jab whiffs.
Okay.
And so this is problematic because down jab doesn't combo into down strong. Stand short doesn't combo into down strong. Stand short combos into down jab. But this combo right here is 0 on hit. It's not very positive. It's not the combo you'd like to optimally do.
Okay.
And then the other part of the setup was what move I was going to do it after. So if we set Ken to wake up, even if you send Ken to back wake up, and this is universal of any grab move in the game, he will always wake up neutral. And so this means there's only one time he can get up with that isn't a delayed tech. After this, if I set Ken to mash standing jab, and this works for 3-frame characters as well as 4-frame characters. I'm not sure what we have him on. We can beat that in a number of ways. And so we can beat that by doing dashing down strong. And we can do that by doing dashing low jab. But notably, we can do it by doing dashing stand jab.
Okay.
But whereas it'd be perfect to do dashing down strong, knowing down strong combos into down strong counter hit, if instead he were to jump, down strong wouldn't be confirmable. I have to turn off counter hit here.
Oh, I see.
So if I turn off this, I can't get anything after the down strong. Like I have to just guess it into a move, or he'll get hit airborne. Regardless, it's not the best possible setup. But what you can do is if you think they're going to jump, instead of doing another command grab or instead of doing a meaty normal, you can do stand jab. Well, if you're good. You can do stand jab into down strong and confirm. And there's a combo. And so what this does is it gives you a confirmable option that beats mashing, it beats jumping, and it doesn't require you to waste your meter without checking whether the move hit or not, because just confirming that single down strong would be impossible. And so that's why here, even though he's crouching, this is a good setup. Well, let me make sure that I show it that he's crouching. It works as well. So yeah, doesn't hit. Does hit.
Because the character, by default, has to stand up for that one frame.
They have to stand up for one frame.
And then he ducks again.
And then what I'll show you is that there is one situation where this doesn't work, and the reason why this isn't a perfect setup is that if we instead set Ken to mash crouching, even crouching medium kick or sweep, what'll happen is he'll actually skip the standing frame and beat us out. Well, he didn't do the move. I guess I'm going to do it.
What do you have him to wake up?
I'm having him do crouching medium kick. So a move that should lose frame-wise, but it actually whiffs because he mashes. So that's how you beat these setups, but it's better than crouching medium punch for other reasons. So it's something that you have to, you know, weigh the options of. And of course, being a cheap character, Vega can dash up and command grab again to beat a low four.
Dare you do one match online and see if you can pull off some of these setups?
You could dare me and I still wouldn't do it.
Listen, dude. There are people who play in CPT online tournaments in lag, and they don't complain. Well, actually, maybe some of them did complain.
Most of them complain.
In the meantime, is that all you want to show us?
Unless anyone has any questions. I mean, that was what I was thinking of for today.
That's perfect. You got a second. You got 10 seconds. If anybody has a question for Danke, whether it's tech or anything you have ever always wanted to ask.
I guess while we're on Vega, I can show another one while I'm waiting.
Sure.
So Vega has another situation where he forces people to tech in only one direction. So here, even though we have him on back recovery, let's set Ken to wake up with... And this, by the way, will work on, you know, 3-frame normals as well. So it's not relevant to just 4-frame normals. So if we set Ken to wake up with a crouching jab, Vega has a way of specifically beating this in the corner with a setup that loops itself.
Okay.
So if we combo into Vega's Barcelona attack and then leave himself in the corner, he can whip a stand jab, and then EX command grab again will beat any 3-frame or 4-frame or 5-frame move. You know, any move of any speed. So if they don't do anything that's not jump or backdash, they'll lose. However, if we set him to, jump instead and do the combo. I have to whip the jab first. You'll get the counter hit that way as well.
We had a question. Danke, why are you so beautiful?
No one can really answer that, right? I mean,
Get
the
it from your
fact of the
mama?
matter is the mask and claw are always beautiful.
The mask and claw, that's why. Yeah, that makes sense. Ask Danke how he feels about Urian. Character's not even out yet, although... Have you played this character before, Danke, even though he's not out?
In the story mode,
Yeah, of
right?
course,
I've
it's story
played him
mode,
a couple
story mode, right?
times.
Mhm.
So far, I think we're 5 for 5 on DLC characters being mid-tierish.
Yeah? Urian's going to buck that trend?
Maybe. I really think he'll probably not be top tier either, but I think he's really, really cool. He does have a true reversal, at least as of the story mode patch. He has the EX headbutt, is a true reversal, and he can give any of his moves armor with his V skill. So he does have escape options, and his offense is definitely scary with the V-trigger, Aegis Reflector, with this charged overhead, with pretty good normals. So I think that he's interesting, and I think a lot of people who haven't found a character yet in this game will find theirs in Urian for sure.
Or when Teaghawk comes out. We have a question for you here. What is the best... This is Devil Reapers. He wants to know, Danke, what is the best Vega anti-air option?
Well, that's an interesting question. The best Vega anti-air option, and we'll just send the jump, is Heavy Aurora Spin Edge. This is the quarter circle back. If you actually go to like Dantarion's website or any hitbox website, the hitbox for that move is like complete invulnerability from his head up.
Okay.
He has no hurt box there. It won't lose to anything. Even the best jumping normals in the game, dive kicks, jump light kick from Ryu will get completely destroyed by this move. The problem with this is that the move has 12 frame startup and you have to do a motion. So it's really hard to react to quick jump ins with this move. The other great thing about this move is that you get a crazy juggle off it. So you get to do whatever you want, and then you can like do this and do that, and you can really mess with the opponent if you land that. However, this isn't super practical all the time. In Clawless, his only other anti-air is at a distance you can do stand heavy kick. And, I mean, that's really pretty much it. Sometimes you can slide neutral jumps, but
anti-air?
His anti-air is pretty weak overall. In Clawless, it gets a lot better because he gains this down fierce that has a pretty good hurt box. He can beat a lot of moves with this, but since they removed the crush counter from the beta, the reward's not especially high. He doesn't have a mindless jab anti-air. Stand short's not a particularly good anti-air. He doesn't have the options that some other characters do. Your goal is to typically dominate the ground with your footsies while looking for anti-airs, and then as soon as you see him do it, get that out there and then try to beat that. You can also notably beat neutral jumps from full screen or so, like react to it with your V-trigger. So if you see him jump, get that, go into super. Oh, awesome. I'll show you one more. So something that Nemo's been doing recently, and yet again it's hard to show by myself in training mode, is he'll backdash while buffering EX Barcelona, his wall dive. And so the second he sees them jump after a backdash, like if I do it here and then jump, he'll do this instead. And so what that lets you do is it lets you anti-air back jumps, it lets you anti-air neutral jumps, it even lets you anti-air forward jumps while doing something pretty safe in a backdash. So normally at mid-range, if you predict a jump, backdash, buffer that, pretty good. If it trades, they're in free juggle, you can do another one, you can do any combo you want.
There you go. Somebody here was commenting that Vega has bad anti-air options, but it seems like he's got quite a few.
Yeah, he's got quite a few bad anti-air options, but the suite of which it's normally possible to do so, you just have to be really, really good. And I think that's part of what separates Nemo right now, is he's so good at anti-air. The last one, of course, would be jump medium kick. This is a really good air-to-air. So if you want to raw predict a jump in, like Kami's EX dive kick or like Ken's EX Tatsu, this is a pretty good option.
Neutral jump, medium kick.
Neutral jump, medium kick.
Well, there you have it. Mike, thank you so much for that lesson in anti-airs and how to get setups going.
Oh, well, no problem, my friend.
All right, guys. This is the show. It's best of 3. We do it every week. We'll be back next week. And, in fact, we have a couple of interesting things coming up. For one, maybe a fight stick partnership? What could that be? Mike, do you want to come back over here so we can talk about that for a second?
Yes, I would love to.
So, yeah, starting next week, we might be giving away some sticks. We'll have to wait and see if that actually pans out, although it totally is going to pan out. The other thing is that we're going to Absolute Battle. Now, we have done this. This is at the end of this month is Absolute Battle. Right. And that's actually one of my favorite tournaments, not just because it's in Texas, but I have a lot of fond memories there. And also because our boy Panda is producing it.
Right. This is in Dallas, Texas. It's run by the guys at Versus Gameplay, I believe. And they've always put on a really good event. And we always have at least a few big-name out-of-staters come out. I know F-Champ's come a variety of times. Justin's come. I'm not sure exactly who's coming this year.
I have a couple of names while you expound on how awesome it is.
And, it's a place that a lot of people haven't been yet for a fighting game tournament. Dallas, Texas is newer as far as, semi-major tournaments go. And this year, it's definitely a major because it's got Capcom Pro Tour points. So I'd love for anyone to come out and come hang out with us and come play with a variety of players who doesn't often make it outside of Texas.
If you haven't registered yet or pre-registered, that closes August 21st, which is the Sunday before Absolute Battle. And I was talking to Panda, and he gave me a couple of names. These are names that he has heard are coming. Let's hope these are confirmed. But we got Jay Wong in the house.
Okay.
Flash Metroid, LPN, Alex Myers, Vagabond, Jan. Jan always puts on a show, whether it's Marvel or whatever game he's playing. Those are some heavy hitters.
Yeah, certainly.
It'll be a great event. We'll be doing the morning show, halftime show, and post-game show on Sunday, as well as you'll be commentating.
Hopefully.
And now we're done with the show. That's Best of 3. Support your local FGC, and check us out next week.